Welcome, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started so that we can honor your time. I'm going to just go through a couple of things first, and then we'll do introductions. But presumably, no one is really new to Zoom. But if you are one of those lucky humans who's never been in a Zoom meeting before, we do ask that you keep your mute on, so you can find your tool should be at the bottom of your screen, and there's a microphone, so just keep that muted. We'll have some time for questions at the end. You can either use the chat or you can open your mic at that time to ask, but otherwise just make it possible for everybody to hear. You are welcome to be on screen or off screen, however you feel more comfortable. And there is also that chat button at the bottom. So we'll probably, it'd be great to hold on to questions till the end. But if there are things that are connected to something as we go through the presentation, you want to pop them in, then we'll try to handle those questions as we see them. And we'll monitor the chat as well so that we can make sure that you're getting the information that you need tonight. It is a lot, so it's just a lot of nuts and bolts that we're going to go through. So I apologize in advance. This will not be the most expeditionary EL education model presentation that you ever sit through. I'm sorry, there's just a lot to get through tonight. So we're going to go ahead though and get started with introductions. I'm Michelle Broink. I'm the school executive director. I have been part of the Franklin team since before we opened, actually. So this will actually be my 11th year in this role and kind of my 12th year working with the school. So looking forward to a really exciting year. And I was just saying to our new staff the other day that it's kind of a funny year. It's the first year that we haven't had like any major construction projects where we didn't do anything like big and fancy over the summer. We did a lot of work, but not no new buildings. So coming into a year that hopefully is just kind of a normal regular year. Looking forward to that a little bit. All right, I'm going to ask my team, and I'm just going to do you all in the order that I see you. If you can just come on and say hello. So I'm going to start with Paula Dowd.
Hi, Paula Dowd. I am the high school principal this year.
Thank you, Dr. Dowd. Dr. Dowd's been with us. This is her 3rd year, but she's moving into a new role as the principal. Stacy, say hello.
Hello, I'm Stacy Kingsley. I'm the EC director.
Thank you, Stacy. And I'm going to go down on my screen. Micah, you're next. Say hello.
Hey, everybody. I'm Micah. I do the community engagement at Franklin. So you all will get a bunch of emails from me here or there. And I'm a good point of contact. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me anytime.
Great. Thanks so much, Micah. Deanna, you're up next for me.
Hi, everybody. My name is Deanna Bennett. I'm the Director of Operations here, and I'm going into my 7th year here.
Great. Thanks, Deanna. Erin, you're up next for me.
Hi, everyone. My name is Erin Otten. I am Director of Student Services. I'm sure you all have gotten lots of emails from me trying to get your kiddos enrolled. I've been with the school for about 8 years. And we look forward to getting to know all of you and your children.
Great, thanks so much. Sagan, you're next.
Hey everybody, I'm Sagan Pizangrilli. I'm the Dean of Students for the middle and the high school. This is my 2nd year at Franklin and just 2nd year in Asheville. So feeling good going into 2nd year, not totally new.
Great, thanks so much, Sagan. Is anybody else on my team? Did y'all join us that I didn't see? Just go ahead and come on off and say hello. Otherwise, I'll give you a couple names that are missing this evening. I think I got everybody that was going to be able to be here. So Tony Freeman is unable to be here tonight. His youngest is heading off to college, so he is helping her move in. So I'm sending him warm and fuzzy thoughts. I'm headed that way tomorrow, but mine's Bet. She's going into her 3rd year, so it's not new for me. Matt Mikulski is our Director of Technology, so he's going to be your go-to person if you have questions about your students' technology needs, if you need a Chromebook at home or how to use Canvas or all those kinds of things. And then Ron Scott may be joining us. He is our Director of After School Programs, and Kim Burke, she's on here at the end, but somehow not here at the beginning, but she's our Athletic Director. So you've definitely heard from Coach Burke about our athletic program already, or you should have. So those are just a few of the folks, lots of helpful people here, and we've got them all linked at the end of this presentation. So we can go to the next slide. Thanks, Micah. All right, I just want to go over a couple of dates right up front so that everybody's got them fresh at hand. We are really, really excited to invite everybody to the building for Meet the Teachers a week from today. So next Thursday, we've split this into 2 different times to make it a little bit easier for parking, and also just so that there's not so many people in the building at one time. So middle school will come from 3:30 to 5 p.m. High school will be here from 5 to 6:30 p.m. Please come within those designated windows. Our high school teachers won't be available until 5, and our middle school teachers will likely be ready to get out of here coming up to that 5 p.m. time, because they'll have been in orientation all day with us. But if you are a parent that has students in both middle and high school, you can kind of pick towards the end of the middle school time and then just flow right on upstairs for the high school time. So we tried to make it a little bit easier for everybody. Last year, we had lots of people in lines, and we've made some changes so that it should be a smoother process for everyone. Monday, August 26th is the first day of school. It is a regular school day. That whole week actually will run like a normal school week. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday are full days. Wednesday will be an early release, just like every Wednesday. So we're just running a regular full week of school that first week. I usually like to start with less than a full week, but that's what we're doing this year. We'll see how it goes. And then right away, we have that Labor Day holiday comes right up fast. The start of the school year is a little bit late this year. So just wanted to make sure that that's on everybody's calendar, because we will certainly not be at the building on that day. I can promise you that. All right, so moving on to the next slide. So it's really, really one of the privileges that I think that we have as a public charter school is that we created our mission, and we are able to sort of make sure that we stay true to it all the time. So I'm not going to read it to you tonight, but I do always like to start everything with reminding people what our mission is. We've spent some time going over this with our new teachers this year, and a couple things that they lifted up was that it talks about things beyond just academic knowledge, right? So in fact, some of the things that we think are really important here come before whether they're learning academically. That doesn't mean academics aren't important. It's just that we think that there's so much more to the student's education. And we really believe that we are here to partner with you all to help our students become great citizens and understand what that means and to be part of our community. So it's here, it's part of what we do. It has not changed since we wrote it. And I think that it still provides us with a vision that we can pursue and grow into and keep shooting for. So it gives us lots of space to continue that growth. So we'll keep doing that thing, moving on. We believe, and I will give these some little bit of time, we do believe very, very much at the core that every student can achieve at a high level. And that you'll see throughout our school day. We work really hard to make sure that every student has an equitable opportunity in our school. And that is how we place students in classes. It's how we select our teachers. It's how we select our support services for students. And we love seeing all of our students really excel. Every student belongs. And that's at the heart of who we are at a school. We spend a lot of time really working on making sure that all of our students feel safe, valued, visible, and welcome in our school. Hate, racism, and bigotry have no place in our community, and we will follow through on that persistently. We know that it's impossible to have a space where these things don't enter, but we will do our best to be on the watch for them and to respond to them when they do come into our spaces. An inclusive and diverse community benefits all of our students. And so those are sort of guiding philosophies and principles that we really work towards. And we really want to be here to partner with you all. We feel that obviously you are your students' first teachers, but we're here to help out, and schools and teachers and school leaders all play a big part in your students' lives as well. So we're here to work with you, again, towards that high achievement for every student. Moving on. So we're going to talk a little bit about what that looks like. And last year, we really started this new process of tracking students' progress and their growth, and really looking at indicators that can help us see if kids are on track or if they're getting slightly off track so that we can step back in. So we want every student to be on track for success for whatever their chosen future path is. And we're looking at these metrics. Academics, are they earning the grades and the credits that they need? Are they attending school regularly, and are they engaging when they're here? And we're going to talk a lot about attendance tonight and throughout the year. And behavior, we're really asking that our students consistently demonstrate our habits of scholarship. They are the pillar of our school model. We'll talk about them a lot with our students, and we're going to ask them to step up to those. So we'll provide direction, we'll provide support, but we are really asking that all of our students can demonstrate our habits throughout their day, so that we can get to the end where our students are ready to create the futures. So this is a statistic that I came across very recently, and to me it was both shocking and also kind of a like, of course, at the same time. So the NWEA, we use MAP testing in our school, and so NWEA is the organization that does the MAP testing. And they just completed an analysis of data from this past year, and they found that rising ninth graders are basically need 9 additional months of education in order to meet pre-COVID achievement levels. So that's essentially an entire year of school. So on the one hand, that's a frightening statistic. On the other hand, what that just tells us is that students did experience significant disruption during COVID, and they've just been making normal growth since then. We haven't made up for that year that was so disrupted. So to me, this is a number of things. I put it in here because number one, kids know about it, and I think that we as adults should just recognize it and acknowledge it. It creates a lot of anxiety for kids when we pretend that their school experience through their lives has been normal and they should just be where they would have been if they hadn't had disruptions. I think that really creates a lot of anxiety because kids know that they missed out during that time and they carry that weight already. So we should just put it out there and accept it and acknowledge it and not pretend that it's not real. The other thing that it says to me is that our time in school is urgent, right? We need to be working to be sure that students are making the best use of their time in school every day, and they need to be here. Like, we really need them here in the school. And I want to recognize this up front also. During COVID and in the years immediately after, we spent a lot of time telling all of you as parents, keep your kids home if they have any symptoms at all. And now here I am saying, bring your kids to school, bring your kids to school. It's really, really important. I understand that we have a lot of remessaging to do around attendance, but I'm going to be working hard all year to do that messaging. We really need your kids here, especially in our school. We are an EL education school. We do a lot of projects. Our learning is very relational. And when they miss school, it's really hard to catch them up with all the things that has happened while they've been out. Of course, if your student is sick, of course, if they've got an appointment, you know that as a parent when they need to be out of school. But if they can be in school, we're really asking that you get them here every day. And we'll do our best then to make sure that their time is worth it. All right, next slide. So a little bit more on absenteeism. This is a national challenge right now. The rate of students who are considered chronically absent has just skyrocketed since COVID. And it adds up really quickly. Missing just 2 days a month is considered chronic absenteeism. That's 10% of their year. Chronic absenteeism is the leading indicator of dropout risk. So starting as early as 4th and 5th grade, we can look at students' attendance. We can even look at students' attendance in the first month of school, and you can start to predict which students are going to be successful and which ones are not going to make it all the way. So we don't want that to be the case. We want to get our kids here. We want to make sure that they are on that path and they stay on that path to graduation and to beyond. So this is the flip side of that. The positive side of all of this is that getting to school regularly is one of the most effective ways to improve student achievement. So if you get them here, they will learn. So we're just going to keep working on that messaging and remind you, please bring your kids to school. Next slide. More on this. Students are required to attend school every day unless they have an excused absence. We have a new student information system this year. We're still working on it. That has been a massive summer project. Erin has spent countless hours helping us make this transition, and we still have a lot of work to do. But attendance notes will be submitted through Infinite Campus. We're going to have more on this later, but you won't have to. We've used a separate attendance email in the past, and we'll be phasing that out, and this communication will come through Infinite Campus. We do ask for a doctor's note if a student is absent for 5 or more days. This just helps us to understand why they've been out and if there's anything that we need to do to help them transition back. Middle school and high school students, the rule is the same. They cannot miss more than 20 days total during the school year. That's excused or unexcused. High school students cannot have more than 10 absences in a semester. We're going to track that by semester. We will offer attendance makeup sessions in January for that first semester, and then we'll run a special summer school after school is over, so that students who have more than 10 absences in any class in high school will need to make that up. So we'll have, there's more information on that in our student handbook, and we'll make sure that our students understand that. But this is just really the way that we're really honing in and helping kids understand how important it is for them to be here whenever they can be. 5 tardies is counted as 1 absence for high school students. So if they're here, but they just dilly-dally and don't make it to class, then those are going to add up and they're going to need to make up that time for us. But we are here to partner with you. I also know that there has been an increase in school avoidance and anxiety around school. I understand that that is really, really challenging. So if you are experiencing that, please let us know. We do not have magic, but we will work with you. We have excellent counselors. We have excellent teams of people. We'll do our best to figure out how we can help you get your student back here to school and see if there's what kinds of resources we can help bring in. Because we know if we don't have them here, we really can't help them grow. All right, next slide. So when should your students stay home? If they are running a fever over 100 degrees, vomiting, diarrhea, obviously, if they have a combination of fever and a sore throat or fever and a rash, these are times that you should keep your student out of school. Fever and a sore throat or fever and a rash can be indicators of something that you might need to consult with a doctor about. You're going to know the best, you know your kids. And what about COVID now? So the guidelines on COVID have changed tremendously, and there really aren't special guidelines for COVID anymore. It's the same as any other viral illness. So first, talk to your doctor about immunizations. They do reduce the risk of serious illness. Your doctor can help you figure out when the right time for that is, or if that's something that's beneficial for you and your child. They can return to school 24 hours after their fever is better without taking like aspirin, and their symptoms are improving. So give it that 24 hours to make sure that they really are feeling better. Masking is recommended for 5 additional days. There is no longer a need to isolate after exposure unless you're demonstrating symptoms yourself. So these guidelines have changed so much. I totally understand that it's hard to keep up even 4 years after COVID. It's still changing. So this is where we are today. There's definitely COVID going around this summer, and I expect that there will be cases at the start of the school year, and I anticipate that we're going to be calling on subs to help us out as our teachers become ill. But these are the guidelines, and hopefully everybody can just stay safe. At least it's not as scary as it used to be. All right, moving on. So I'm going to move on now from attendance to behavior expectations. Again, those things that we're really tracking as indicators of our students on path for success. Behavior is another really big one, and something that we track is, are they being referred to our administrators, or are they being suspended for any reason in school? Those are really high risk indicators, and we want to be tracking that and working again with parents and students to see what we can do about those behaviors. So here are habits of scholarship. These say, sort of at that positive global level, what we're looking for in our students. And then what this looks like every day is we expect our students to be on time and present for all classes. They should be getting to their classrooms on time. It's not a long ways from one class to the next, and they can easily make it there in the transition time that we have. Cell phones, this is really, really important. Cell phones and any personal electronics, whether that's their earbuds, whether that's a smartwatch, need to be silenced and out of sight at all times during the instructional day. So middle school, the rule is very specific. Those cell phones should not be seen or heard during the day. High school, we will allow students to have their cell phones during transitions and at lunch. But this is something we really need parents to partner with us to make sure that we're effective in this. We made a lot of progress last year on cutting down on cell phone use in the classes, and it was dramatically improved. Like, you could walk into a classroom and you could see higher levels of engagement with students. And we still have room to grow on this. So we're really, really pushing hard on this year. There's been a ton of research to support why we need to have those electronics out of sight and out of mind during the school day. So we're really asking you to work with us. Strongly encourage our parents of our youngest students. They really don't need a cell phone at school. I know that can be really hard to fight, but if you need somebody in your back pocket to back you up on this, and you're having those conversations with your 5th and 6th graders in particular, we really discourage. They don't need a cell phone here at school. There are phones in every single classroom. We have a phone in the office. If they need to contact you, we'll make sure that we work with them to do that. But if they do have them here, again, they need to be put away and silenced all day. I also do really understand that it's something that gives parents and students comfort to have those cell phones on them. So recognize that. I want to honor that, but away and silence. So don't be texting your kids during the school day. They don't need that disruption. And then our final thing for students is to do their best. Take responsibility for your actions and be kind. These are really simple things, but these are really what we're looking for in our kiddos. All right, moving on, next slide. School safety, this is really top of mind for parents, obviously for all of us. We want to make sure that your students' safety and well-being is our top priority at all times. So these are the things that I can really promise you. First of all, this is our 2nd year in our building, but it is so much easier to manage security in this building than when we had all of our modular buildings. So there is just one entrance that is open during the day, and it's locked after school starts. So you have to be buzzed in and buzzed out. All of our doors on external doors are outfitted with prop alarms. So if they're left open, really, really annoying alarms go off, and they are like ear shattering. So you can't ignore them. They are locked all the time, and we know if they're not. We have in place online content filtering and monitoring so that all of our students' communications are monitored externally, so that if there's some kind of a concerning search or language or words that come up, we're flagged and we're able to intervene and follow up on that. We have a comprehensive school safety plan that's in place that we go through a process of updating every year. We will do safety training and drills for our staff and our students so that people do know what to do if there is ever a situation, including fire, all the regular drills. And maybe really most importantly, and why it's up there at the top, we're going to know your child. Our whole model as a school is set up so that we have the time and the space to get to know your kids well. And that it's really, really consistent. Every year, students will come to us if they're worried about a friend, if they're worried about themselves. When those strong relationships are in place, kids will come to us and let us know if there's anything that we need to be concerned about. So we work really hard on making sure that every student has at least one trusted adult and hopefully many more that they know that they can go to. We have excellent school counselors. We have 2 behavior specialists and Sagan as our dean of students. These folks really help us get to know kids as well, and they are safe people for so many of our students. So these are things that are in place as of day one to make sure that all of our students are safe in our school. We do have an anonymous report line that is available 24/7. It's linked here. It's on our website as well. This is external, so anything that goes there will be answered 24/7. If it's something that really needs to be flagged at a higher level, they will call me at any hour. It's one of the few phone calls that I allow to come through to my phone at any time of the day or night. So we are contacted immediately if there's some kind of an emergency or an urgent risk that has to do with one of our students. So I do put that here as a resource for you as well, and we'll make sure that our students are aware of that as well. All right, moving on. These are just maps and they're hard to show here, but I'll give you just a general description. And when you come on campus, if you haven't been here before, our lower floor, grades 5 through 8 are downstairs, grades 9 through 12 are upstairs. On the on the north side of the building is where our younger students are. So 5th and 6th on the lower floor, 9th and 10th upstairs. And then south side is where our older students for each of those sections, 7th and 8th grade, are in that little wing, on 11th and 12th grade upstairs. So once you come in, and it can feel confusing to people, but once you get in, you can see how the classrooms work and where students are. And it really, particularly for you 5th and 6th grade parents, as you're coming into a larger school, those students have their own wing and they're pretty much cuddled in that wing all day. So they don't need to like venture out and run into a 12th grader upstairs. We keep those separate. So will help you find your way when you come to meet the teachers. And on the first day of school, we're all out there helping kids find their classrooms. So they pick it up pretty quickly. So even if they've been in a smaller school, or maybe they've been the oldest kids in their school and now they're coming in and there's all these really big kids around them, we got you covered, they'll be all right. So we'll go through these maps are just provided in the presentation so people can kind of orient themselves. Next slide just shows the upper floor, same thing, how it's organized. It's very consistent in the building. And next slide. We're going to talk about traffic flow because this is really, really, really important. So the first thing I'm going to say is that all traffic on our campus is one way. You come in the entrance and you go out the exit, and we don't turn around because that creates traffic hazards. So during arrival, during dismissal, really, really important, traffic flows one way. You're going to form 2 lines when you come in. So when you come into our road, you're going to get into 2 lanes and you're going to stay in 2 lanes all the way around. I think that this is something that it takes a while to really help people understand, but it doesn't matter if you choose the left lane or the right lane, just pick a lane, stay in that lane and follow it all the way around. When you are finished either dropping off or picking up, and you follow that long road all the way back out to Sardis Road, you must turn right at the exit. This isn't something that we made up. This is a Department of Transportation requirement. So you've got to turn right. Sardis Road is a really, really busy road, and turning left, you're turning into 2 lanes of fast traffic. So we really ask that for your safety and for the safety of everyone, you make that right turn. I know I'm someone who needs to go left at the end of the day as well. You just make your turns and make your way back around. Our middle road is where we park our buses so that we've got a really safe place for students to load and unload from the buses. So that is not a through road to traffic. We'll have that marked. It won't be, you really can't mistake it, but I just wanted to make sure that people understand that. So most important things here, and please, if you have other drivers in your family, make sure they know this as well. Traffic is one way on our campus. It's marked, it's clear, just follow it. Next line, because we've got a lot more to do on this. So for safety purposes, we ask that when students arrive on campus, they need to stay. Once you've dropped them off, they should not be walking to the gas station to get their coffee or their Monster drink. We really need them to stay here. This is really important for safety. We've also gone through this already. High school students use the upper classrooms, middle school students use the lower level classrooms, and students should not be leaving campus at any time during the day unless they're signed out by a parent. The only exception to this is our seniors. We do have senior privileges for lunch, but all of our other grade level students should stay on campus so that we know, and you know, that we have them and that they're safe with us. Next slide. Drop-off procedures. We spend a lot of time on this, and we're going to be out there, many of us, helping you find your way on that first day. So we stagger the times to help us manage the traffic. So our 5th and 6th graders, the day runs from 8:10 to 3:15. If you are a returning family, please notice that we have changed our times by 5 minutes. Each day is 5 minutes longer. And this just fits our schedule better. There's some other things that we've done with our schedule, so it accommodates that. It also helps us have a couple less days of school because we have you here for more minutes during each day. So 5th and 6th graders should be in their classrooms by 8:10 and they're dismissed at 3:15. 7th and 8th graders, again, 8:10 and they're dismissed at 3:25. Wednesday is a shift. For middle school, it's 8:10 to 12:45 with the dismissal. That's our short day. And drop off for our middle school, you can start dropping students off at 7:15. From 7:15 to 7:45, this is before school. There is a very minimal fee. We charge just $1 for each day for that. But if they're arriving between 7:15 and 7:45 a.m., there is a $1 fee. Our staff are expected to be here at 7:45 in the morning. So this is before their hours. So we have somebody coming in early for this. From 7:45 to 8 a.m., students in middle school who arrive will stay in the community room. If they arrive at between 8 and 8:10, they're just going to go straight to their classroom. So we'll hold the kids in the community room until 8 and then we'll release them. If they come after that, they go straight to their classrooms. If they arrive after 8:10, they need to just report to the office and we will give them a pass so that we check them in. We know that they're here at school and then we'll give them a pass to go to their classes. Next slide. High school is a little bit different. They start a little later and they go a little later. So our hours for high school are 8:25 to 3:40. So the 5 minutes are at the end of the day, just extending the day a little bit. Wednesdays, 8:25 to 1 o'clock. Drop off, again, same deal, 7:15 to 7:45 is part of our Before the Bell program. 7:45 to 8:10, we'll hold them in the community room. If they arrive between 8:10 and 8:25, they can report directly to their first period class. Again, if they arrive late or they're leaving early, they've got to go to the main office to check in or check out. Now, if you have students in different grades, we suggest, obviously, if you're dropping them off in the morning, you need to drop off for that middle school arrival if you've got middle and high school. But you should come for the later pickup time. We'll hold kids. So our middle school students who are being released earlier will be supervised by our teachers until that high school dismissal. So you don't need to come early and be in the line twice. Come with that later time. If you want to come early, pick up your kid, get back in the line, you are welcome to do that. But you can't stop our traffic. So we'll have you move through and re-enter. So our recommendation is just come at the later time. So pick up for 5th and 6th graders, again, it's at 3:15. So we ask that you try to arrive between 2:50 and 3:15. 7th and 8th graders, it's 10 minutes later. So try to arrive between 3:10 and 3:25. High schoolers try to arrive at 3:30, not before that. If you do get there early, I totally understand it's impossible to predict traffic perfectly. We'll be up there and we'll help you out. If you were here last year, you saw how this works. There's space to the side of our road. You just pull off to the side so that the 2 lanes can continue moving through. Just move to the side. We'll wave you over there. That really just helps the traffic keep flowing. Then we'll pull you back in when it's time for your pickup. So just, it makes sense when you see it happening. It really makes a huge difference in keeping the traffic line moving. And this year, we're starting on the same day as the district school. So just remember, everybody is coming back to school for the first day. Sardis Road has many schools on it. So the Enka schools are in session as well. So we'll all be kind of figuring out what that traffic is going to look like during that first week. We will be handing out cards that have your student's name and grade on them. They're bright colored. This is so helpful to us because when you're coming in, it gives us that visual cue. Oh, this student is actually here for high school. I'm going to pull them to the side of the road so that I can get my 5th and 6th graders out of here and keep the traffic flowing. Or it helps me to see like, yep, that's a 5th and 6th grader. I'm going to wave them on through, and then we're going to be calling names. So it helps the people who are calling names to make sure that students are alerted. It helps them get that ready. So kids are ready to get in your cars when you're picking up. So please have those name cards. We'll be distributing them during Meet the Teacher. We're getting all those welcome packets pulled together. So if you're not able to come to Meet the Teacher night, we'll have them in the office and you can pick them up during the week. But this is more helpful than you can possibly imagine until you're the person standing out there with cars flowing past you on all sides and it's 95 degrees and you're like totally stressed and then you can't figure out what grade the kids are. So it really is more helpful than you know. Really, really important. We do ask that all students be picked up by 3:50. If our traffic is still in the line, obviously we get that. It will take a little bit longer during those first couple of weeks, but if they're left at school and our traffic is done, we're going to be placing students in Beyond the Bell and our after school fees will apply. So this is really important so that we can let our staff leave at the end of their school day. They've all been here all day. Move the students into our supervised after school program. We can make sure that our students are safe. They cannot just hang out on campus at the front field or anywhere. They need to leave campus at the end of the school day or be in our after school program. Moving on. Wednesdays works pretty similarly, but we don't stagger it. There's less traffic on Sardis Road on Wednesdays because we're dismissing at a different time. So it has worked. So all of middle school is dismissed at 12:45. All of high school is dismissed at 1 o'clock. Same thing, if you get here early, pull to the side of the road if you're a high school parent and let those middle school parents flow on through. And we're asking that students really need to be picked up by 1:15, or again, we'll sweep them into the Beyond the Bell program so that we have them safe and supervised. Next slide. Bus transportation, this is Deanna's world along with Steve, our transportation coordinator. So we are really proud. We run the largest bus transportation program of any charter school in Western North Carolina and one of the largest ones across all of North Carolina, actually. And this started in our very first year. We believe that if we are committed to equity and an inclusive school, then transportation needs to be something that we're providing. Otherwise, by just the location of our school, many students aren't able to attend. So our bus transportation is a reflection of our commitment to equitable access. We have a lot of buses and we bought a couple of new ones this year that are a little bit bigger, but we do have a lot of demand for our buses as well. So It's possible that you might end up on a waiting list at the beginning of the year. I believe right now, everybody who's asked has been placed on a bus. Is that true, Deanna? So right now, everybody, we've been able to accommodate on those buses, but if we do have more requests than we can place, we give priority to low wealth and underrepresented students. It is really, really important. Your students must be registered and you must complete that bus rider contract. Deanna has sent those out. We have many, many students already signed up. If you have not yet signed up, please make sure that you get this filled out so that we've got a record that your student is going to be needing bus transportation. We've got your contact information so we can get all of our nice little phone logs set up. If we ever have to contact you, if a bus is running late or if anything happens, we need this information to be correct and accurate. And we need to know what buses the students need to be placed on. So students must ride their assigned bus. We just don't have the capacity to have guests who aren't a registered bus rider. So if your student is going to be bringing a friend home for school, you're going to need to make arrangements on that day to pick up and bring them home. At this time, we expect that the buses will be filled with students who are riding them regularly. So that also just makes sure that our buses are safe places. We know who's on them each day and that kids are getting where they're expected to be, so that if you've got somebody waiting to pick them up, they're getting to that place where that person is waiting to pick them up. If you have any questions about the buses, Deanna is here to help. She's a busy person, so don't pepper her with unnecessary questions, but do send her things that you really need to know. And she's getting information out about the buses. I think most of that's already gone out, but if you've got any questions, she's your go-to person. Next slide. Middle school schedule, and I'm not going to walk through all of this. It's just here. You can reference this. We're going to send those slides out. We'll also, I think, have copies of these in the welcome packets. So we've made a little bit of a shift to our schedule this year, and I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. We're really excited about it. We've added something that we're calling Learning Lab, and that's a 30-minute block in our day that all students will participate in. It's going to happen 4 days a week. So you can see here that their classes are just under an hour, right around an hour for each of their classes, including their electives. Middle schoolers have lunch, recess, and crew, and they rotate through that. So we have just 2 grades at lunch at any time. So there's just, we're just moving things around to make sure that we don't have too many students in the lunchroom at any given time. So you can see those schedules throughout the day, and Learning Lab happens during the second period of our day. So that's what your students' daily schedule is going to look like. There's no Learning Lab on Wednesdays just because it's a much shorter day, but they do still have that lunch and recess time. Moving to the next slide. So what is Learning Lab? As I said, it's our 30-minute block that we've added in. This is differentiated instruction. All students will be assigned to a group based on the data that we have about them. So if your student is really accelerated in their reading, they're going to go into a group where they're going to get some extension. They're going to be able to do some things that are above and beyond what they might get in the general classroom. If your student is not where they need to be in math or in reading or writing, we're going to have, they're going to be working in small groups with teachers who are going to be really helping them develop those skills. Our goal is to make sure that all of our students are getting the support they need to make really strong growth, especially in reading, writing, and math. We're really excited about this. It's something that we've been working on for a while. This is the first year that we're really rolling it out for all middle school students in their daily block or in their daily instruction. So we think it's going to make a big difference for our kids. It's new, so give us time as we really get this rolling, but we've done a lot of work and thinking around this summer to make sure that we're ready to hit the ground with this right away. Moving on. The high school schedule is totally different. High schoolers have follow what we call a hybrid block period. So most classes, most of their core classes happen during 90-minute blocks that meet every other day all year. There's a little bit of variation in that in some of the grade levels. They might have a core class during a shorter period and an elective during that block period. But for the most part, we've got classes that happen all year long, 90 minutes every other day. So they've got their classes on A day, and then they've got different classes on B day. But then our shorter periods, our skinny periods, class 1, 5, and 6 are about an hour, and they meet just 4 days a week. So the minutes are about the same between these when you add them up across the year. It's just that they meet in shorter blocks 4 days a week instead of on that rotating basis. Wednesdays are shortened. They've got their block periods. The skinny periods don't meet that day. They have something we call SMART period, which is a time when they can get extra help from a teacher or make up a missed test, or if they've missed an assignment, that's time that they can do those things. We've got a few like clubs and enrichment activities that might meet during that SMART period as well. And so that's what the Wednesday schedule looks like. And high schoolers have brunch on Wednesday, so it's kind of fun. They eat early. Our nutrition crew did a great job with this last year, bringing in some special menu items. They have like French toast sometimes and breakfast biscuits. So I think it worked out really well. We tried this last year for the first time, and kids were skeptical at first, changed. They're always looking at you going like, what, brunch? And then they got into it. So we like the Wednesday schedule. So that's what your student schedule looks like. I know it sounds complicated, but once they get into it, they figure it out. A big change this year, which will make our lunch more efficient and work better also, is that we're shifting to 2 lunch periods. So some students will have lunch from 12:30 to 1:10, and then 2 other grades will have lunch during that second period. And that will help us move the lunch line faster. They'll have crew at the opposite time. So they'll either be in crew or they'll be at lunch during that time frame. So that's a shift based on just getting used to having all of our students in the building last year. And I think it's going to make things a lot smoother. So we'll work with kids to help them. There's helpful signs up that say whether it's A day or B day, and they get the hang of it pretty quickly. We mentioned the lunchroom and lunch. So we do offer a full lunch, a nutrition program for our students. We have a cold breakfast. It's usually snacks that kids can pick up when they arrive, not snacks like cereal, granola bars, things like that. They can pick up when they arrive. We have hot lunch daily. Students who are eligible for free and reduced lunch, there's an application process for that, and you can complete the application, and if they qualify, then that's just automatically noted in their records. They don't have to, there's nothing different. They're going to go up, they're going to get their lunch. It'll just show up in how they're charged or not charged for those meals. You can purchase your lunches. You can put money in your student's account in advance using My School Bucks. We'll have more information about how to get into My School Bucks coming out to you by email. This year, we're really another big project over the summer, besides the transition to a new students information system, is that we are applying to the Federal School Nutrition Program. This will give us funding. We've run our lunch program without any funding since the beginning, and it's not really sustainable for us. So we are applying to the Federal School Lunch Program. There are other benefits that go into this. There are like summer programs that families who are attending a school that participates in that Federal School Nutrition Program can receive that our families haven't been eligible for. So we're excited to be able to make that available to our families as well. It's a big process. We're not approved yet. There's a whole application, and we're getting all of that moving, but we hope to have that in place during this school year. So we're running our program as if we are part of that program until we get that application in place. The biggest change that students are going to see with this is that we cannot sell any foods that compete with our school lunch program until after the last lunch is served. That means we cannot do, those of you who are returning, we've done pizza sales. We can't do pizza sales outside of our lunch program anymore, or there've been a variety of other student fundraisers where we sold ramen or hot chocolate, and we are prohibited by federal regulations from doing that. We're looking for other ways that we can have fun fundraisers for our clubs and for our athletics programs. And we will have pizza as part of our school lunch program every Friday. So Pizza Friday will continue. It's just going to be a little bit different. We know kids will probably be really sad about that, but they'll get over it and they'll learn to love school lunch pizza. We all learned to love school lunch pizza when we were kids. So they will have that opportunity as well. Really, really, really important for school safety purposes. You cannot have meals delivered. So no DoorDash, no whatever else kids might want to order their lunch through. We just can't have unknown delivery people at school. And for full transparency, when my son was in high school, he was absolutely that kid who ordered pizza to be delivered to school. At least he was smart enough that when he was busted, he just gave the pizza over to the SRO. That was fine. But we will not deliver these meals to your kids. So please don't send them that way. It just makes things crazy. All right, moving on. Thank you. Dress code. Our dress code is really, 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 really simple. Here are the things that your students must wear. Opaque clothing that covers most of their torso. They don't really care about their belly buttons. And it covers their bottoms. So shirts, bottoms, and yes, shoes. Shoes are essential and required in school all the time. What you cannot wear is anything that has hate speech, anything that has profanity on it, or anything that promotes illegal substances. So basically, don't wear things that are going to make another person feel uncomfortable or that are going to encourage behaviors that are not allowed at school. So these are really simple things. And our kids generally find great ways to express themselves through their creative clothing, and they can engage in learning in whatever they choose to wear to school during the day. Next dress code, next slide, sorry. Necessary forms, paperwork, school supplies. There's always a bunch that you got to get done every year. Please, these are so important to us. If your student has a medical action plan of any sort, they have diabetes, asthma, any kind of an allergy that is life-threatening or severe, please make sure that we know about it, that we have a plan from their doctor here on site, and that if you have medications that they need at school, that those are checked in with our school nurse. So that we are fortunate to have, I think, the best school nurse in the world, full-time at our school, but she needs to have these documents in place on the very first day of school so that we can keep your students safe. All of these things can be found on our website. Courtney sent out an email last week with all the forms that you might need. Just get them in. And again, these are going to be collected through Infinite Campus. So Erin's going to be sending out information on how you upload those next week. But please get those things in. And if you haven't gotten them uploaded, you can bring us a hard copy. We will make sure that they get in their files. If your student is going to have any medications on campus, whether it is prescription or over the counter, they must have a doctor's approved, like they have to be signed off on. You cannot just carry Tylenol or anything else with them during the school day. We still have to have the medication form with that. It has to be stored in the nurse's office, and we control that. That's just, again, really important for school safety purposes. The school supply lists have been sent out. They're on our website. They're linked again here. And we do have a $15 consumable fee. There are many consumable materials that we're providing throughout the school year. This just helps us to keep those supplied for all of our students. And so that's just a little bit of a heads up to watch for that. Next slide. Chromebooks, hotspots, and Canvas. We have Chromebooks in carts available in every classroom. Teachers decide when students are using them. So this is really important. We're not online all the time in classes. Many times you'll walk into class and the Chromebooks are safely locked away in their carts. And of course, as we talked about before, all those personal electronic devices are silent and hidden away so that we can really see students engaging in that learning together, collaborating, working together, and engaged in class. If your student needs a Chromebook or a hotspot at home, we have those. Contact Matt Mikulski and we will get you set up with those. So the students do not have to carry Chromebooks back and forth. We discourage any kind of personal Chromebooks or computers here at school. There's not a need for it. They can keep those important devices at home and use our Chromebooks here at school. All students will receive an FSI email account and their Canvas login information when school starts. If they're new, if they're returning, those pieces all stay the same. So they would have the same email address that they had last year. They can access Canvas in the same way that they did before. Canvas login instructions are linked here. They're also on our website. Parents, if you're new, Canvas is our learning management system. Teachers use that. It varies by grade level. Our 5th grade teachers don't use it a lot because they're really engaging with students. The learning is predominantly going to be in person, on paper, in the classroom, but they will be using it in some ways, and they'll instruct your students on how that's being used. Our high school, by the time students are seniors, almost all of their information is delivered to them through Canvas, like their assignments, their readings, all of that. So it's staggered by kind of what we think are age-appropriate developmental use. You as parents can get access to your students' Canvas page. You can download an app. You have to link your app to your students' account. Your students have to do this with you because they generate a code that allows you to link to them. So you're going to sit down with your kiddo, not the first week of school, maybe the second week of school, and say, all right, let's log into Canvas together. So it's a thing that you do need to do with your student. And you know whether you need to be doing this. I had one student that I wish we'd had something like Canvas so I could have tracked his assignments on a daily basis. And I had another child who never needed me to look at her Canvas account ever. So you know your kid, you know how much you need to be involved in whether they're getting their assignments done. This is just a tool that you can use to help you keep on track. All right, next slide. All right, now we're getting to this Infinite Campus that I've been talking about. This is not something that we just woke up one day and went, boy, we're really bored. We'd love to pick a new student information system. This is a decision that North Carolina made. They are moving away from PowerSchool and into Infinite Campus. We do think that this is going to be a great change. So we think that Infinite Campus will serve our needs better and will also serve our students and our parents better. But it is a huge change that was jammed into a very short window of time. So there's a very steep learning curve. It also meant that we went about 6 weeks this summer without any access to our students' data in any way. That's when we are normally enrolling students and families into the information system. We're getting them registered into classes. We do that all summer long. And we didn't have access to the system until about the 3rd week of July. So it has been a serious cram to get this done. So especially for our high school families, we know that the course registration was not ideal this year. Wasn't ideal for us either. It's just that the transition had to happen over summer and it really just, it's hard to navigate that shift. So we're getting closer every day. We've got just about all of our student schedules into Infinite Campus. We're working really hard on this. We'll be ready for day one, but we're going to be doing a lot of learning and we're not done learning how to use this. And there are components to Infinite Campus that we're going to learn about and phase in after we get the essentials in place. So we knew we needed to have students registered in their classes so we can take attendance. So that's been where our focus has been. Contact information obviously needs to be in here and needs to be accurate. So that's another big focus for us. And some of the other bells and whistles we're learning about, and we'll be rolling those out after we get these really essential pieces in place. So next week, one of the big changes is there's a parent portal, and Erin will be sending you information next week about how to log into this new parent portal. Here are just a few of the things that you can do. You can go to that next slide, Micah, it's fine. A few of the things that you can do in the parent portal, you'll be able to view your student schedules. You'll be able to update your demographic and contact information. This is really, really important. So you will have control if your phone number changes, if your address changes, if your email changes, if you have 2 households, you have control in the portal to set those things up so that we've got the correct contact information for you all the time. You can update your student's preferred name and pronouns in this portal so that we know what your student wants to be called on day 1. And so we're really asking you to take that step and make sure that we have that correct. You can update student health information. You can submit your absence notices. So if your student's going to be out of school, this is where you can let us know about that. And then you can also take a look at what your student's attendance is. So if you're like, gosh, I don't know how many days has my student missed, you're going to be able to look it up here. We'll be tracking student behavior incidents as well. Not all things, but if they've been suspended or if there's been a major referral, you'll be able to view that here. And then also you'll complete all those annual forms. So this is where you're going to be able to upload those medical forms, any of the other required re-enrollment forms. So we'll be moving everything into Infinite Campus through this parent portal. Did I miss anything, Erin, or say anything wrong?
No, it looks good to me. It's a
All
learning curve for all, so if you have questions, reach out to me, and I may not even know the answer, but I will find it for you. So we'll do it together.
Yeah, it's been huge, and just a real big shout out to Erin. This has been a really big load for Erin and for her team. Throughout the summer, she's put in way too many hours. She definitely needs a vacation, which she has not yet gotten. So sometime this fall, she's going to be disappearing and you will have no access to her for a little while. So we're going to enforce that, but we're going to get through the start of the school year first. All right, moving on, next slide. We are a Title I school, and so I'm going to just tell you a little bit about what that means and what your parent rights are as a Title I school. We receive federal funding for several programs. This includes Title I, Title II, and Title IV. This is based on our student demographics. So we run a school-wide Title I program because more than 40% of our students qualify for free or reduced lunch. So as a school serving a high percentage of students with free or reduced lunch eligibility, we receive federal funding. So these Title I and Title IV support students who are not at grade level. So it is a school-wide program, but the funds are really targeted towards supporting students who need to make additional growth. And our Title II funds support our teacher learning and professional development. So as a parent, you have the right to request teacher professional qualifications of your students' teachers. These are all actually posted on our website under our Parent Bill of Rights page. We're updating those with all of the information for our teachers this year, but you can go to that Parent Bill of Rights page and you can click and all of our teacher credentials are there. You can request information about our state and local testing requirements. That's also posted on our website under the testing. We participate in all of the state end of year testing. We do AP testing. And we also do NWEA MAP testing here at our school. Our parent engagement policy is linked here. Our Parent Bill of Rights page is linked here as well. And there's a little bit of a link to additional information about Title I at our school. So all of these links are on our website. Moving on to the next slide. Now's the fun stuff. So what is extra beyond the school day? So you can just go right on to the next slide. Our Beyond the Bell provides before and after school. We have programming for students from 7:15 in the morning until 6 p.m. every night, and that includes on Wednesdays. So this is a really long day that we are covering for students. Ron Scott is returning this year as our Beyond the Bell director, or our director of after school services. So those of you who were here last year have had the opportunity to meet Ron already. Damon Scott is returning as our after school coordinator. He joined us partway through the year last year, so we're excited to have him back. Sorry, this is out of date. We've had a registration fee in the past, but we are removing this year. So the fees will just be for the daily usage. that will be managed through the My School Bucks, and Deanna will be sending out more information about that. We've sent out previous information about this, but this is a shift for this year. It brings us in line with what other schools in the area have done for a while. And our primary reason for this shift is our students' safety. So all students who are at school after dismissal will be placed in Beyond the Bell. This includes students who are staying for after-school clubs. It does not include athletics. So if they're here for like volleyball practice, they will, they are not part of Beyond the Bell, but any other after-school club is part of this. That does not include rehearsals for theater when theater is rehearsing for a performance, or chorus or orchestra, but any club. So students will be checked into Beyond the Bell. The club sponsor will come and pick them up. They'll do their club. They'll come back to Beyond the Bell. And that's where you'll pick them up. The daily schedule includes outside time and a break. There's quiet homework time. There are enrichment activities, and we'll have more information about our clubs as those firm up for the year. We will be able to provide our staff members who are sponsoring these clubs with a stipend this year. So this is also really important. We've relied on staff to volunteer for these after-school clubs in the past, and that's just not sustainable. I think everybody knows that North Carolina teachers are seriously underpaid, and it just doesn't feel right to continue asking them to donate their time so that we can run these activities. So this is a really important shift. This will allow us to honor their time and their effort with stipends. We will provide scholarships for students who really need it for those clubs, and we'll be funding those scholarships partially through VCs. And it'll help us to really make sure that that after-school coordination of students and supervision of students is tight this year. So that's, we recognize that this is a big shift, but it's something we spent a lot of time looking at last year, and we've thought carefully about it. And it's something that's really necessary for our students' well-being and for the sustainability of offering these enrichment activities after school going forward. Next slide. Bolts Athletics, we're really excited. I'm pretty sure we've got all of our coaches in place. So we will have cross country for middle and high school, as these are our fall sports, flag football for middle school, that's co-ed, volleyball girls for both middle and high school, and then high school soccer for our boys. And our fifth graders can participate in the middle school sports. We'll have winter sports and we'll have spring sports. This is our fall roundup. Really important. You must have these forms before your student comes to their first practice or their workout. And these are the same forms as schools use all across the state. So you must complete the physical, your doctor, you need to get them into the doctor to get that physical done. There's a medical waiver and there's a concussion form. These are available on the website. I'm pretty sure that Coach Burke has sent them out as well. And I was always that person pushing this off to the last minute and trying to rush out and get that physical done. So you've still got a week before school starts. Go ahead and get it done while you still got your kids at home. Coach Burke is returning as our athletic director for her 10th year. So we're really excited about that. She knows her stuff. And we have an assistant athletic director helping out with our middle school sports this year as well. So glad to get her a little bit of help in running this, our growing athletics program. Next slide. All right, we went through some of the upcoming calendar dates, but here they are again. Meet the Teacher is next Thursday from staggered times 3:30 to 5 and then 5 to 6:30 depending on middle school, high school. August 26th, first day of school. Really super important that your student be here on the first day. The state does not count your child as our student, even if they've been coming for 6 years. They do not count them as our student until they attend on that first day. So this is really important for us for legal reasons and just for funding reasons. So please get them here on day one, or be in touch with us if there's some emergency reason why they can't be here. No school that September 2nd, and then really early, we'll have our fall student-led listening conferences on Wednesday, September 18th. This day is a little bit different. Your student will not come to school that day. They will come in just for their listening conference. So your crew leader is going to be helping you get that time set up. So I wanted to make sure that you all have that on your calendar because it comes up really, really quickly. This is a terrific time where we get to learn a lot about your students. I love student-led conferences, and this listening conference just really provides you and your student early in the year with an opportunity to let us know what makes your kiddo great and what we should know about to help them continue their growth here. So those are important dates. Is there another slide? I'm not sure if there is. What's next? Oh, just all the links to all the people who are here to help you. So here's all the email addresses. If there are questions that you have and their titles. So these are all the variety of people that can help you. And I've been watching, people have been answering the questions in the chat. So I think the last thing we have here is just questions. So you can continue putting them in the chat, or you can come off mic and ask them at this time. We'll stick around for just a little bit longer here. If you don't have any questions, you are free to go. I do want to just take another minute to say thank you so much for attending tonight. We will get the recording out. Give us a minute to get that done, but we will post this recording for anybody who wasn't able to attend. We'll also send out these slides so that you have access to all the links in there and you can go back and take a look at them. And we'll stay on and we will answer questions here. So I'm gonna pop in and see if there's anything that hasn't been answered yet, and just make sure we're pinging through those. So there was a question, can you log into Canvas for multiple students? Erin's answered that. You are able to have, you can have a separate share code from each of your students that will bring you to that student's Canvas account. Canvas and Infinite Campus do sync up. We're encouraging you to rely on Canvas until we really understand how that works. But yes, you can have multiple student Canvas accounts. The boys soccer, I saw an answer to that. Deanna popped that in. I don't see where that is right now. August 26th. Yes, the slides will be shared by email. The BTB fees, there's a question, are BTB fees higher on Wednesday? Yes, they are. BTB runs for 5 hours on Wednesday, so it is a higher cost to make up for that additional staff time. We also provide more snacks on those days, so it takes a lot to program kids for that long afternoon. The pickup process for Beyond the Bell is you'll come to the building and just come inside and get your kids. You can come, if you've been on campus before, you're going to come into that sort of round parking lot at the front of the building and just walk in and you can get your kids. And Ron and Damon will be there to help you with that checkout. I saw the answer to the menu. Deanna's working on that. We'll get those posted. Understand this is a big undertaking as well, transitioning to this new federal school lunch program, and our menus all need to be compliant with that. So they've been working through that process of creating those menus. Yes, you must have a new physical for sports each school year. Sagan's answered, there was a question, are there tryouts for sports? Yes, there are tryouts. It's going to depend on which sport your student is trying out for and how competitive, how many student athletes we have in that particular sport. Question about, can you sign a child out early or late for an appointment? If so, yes, what is the process? Yes, you'll just come to the front desk and sign your student out. Melissa is our amazing receptionist returning this year. She knows most of the kids. You'll sign out with her or whoever is there at that front desk. Student volunteer hours requirement to graduate high school. We'll have that information. Erin, did you have a question? Or
Just need to make sure you have a photo ID to check in.
Oh yes, sorry, do bring your photo ID.
Yep, that's it.
I don't remember, is it 40 hours, 50 hours? I should know that.
It's 50 hours.
50 volunteer hours to graduate. They can accrue those throughout their 4 years. We'll have a copy of that service log in the welcome packets for them. Jane Ann Tager, our college and career counselor, really works with students on that. And they all get there. And some kids, we had kids at graduation, Micah, what was the biggest number? They were recognized
1,000.
for like 1,000 hours. We had students with 1,000 service hours. Amazing. So proud of them. So you do get recognition for those extra hours, and we get everybody over there. Coach Burke, yep, Sagan's put Kim Burke's email in there for athletic questions. Clubs will start. I don't have a hard date for those. It's going to take a minute. We want to let our teachers get settled into the school year and see who's going to be stepping up to run those clubs. They typically do get started during that first quarter. Teachers always amaze me with their ability to just get going and running on things, but please give us a minute to get those started. The lunch options for vegetarian students, I can't speak to that directly right now, but we do always have a vegetarian option for our students. And again, all of our menus have to meet the federal school lunch program requirements. So they
Right.
are meeting all of those federal standards.
Right. We will still have a vegetarian option more than likely throughout the week.
There's a question about, should your student have already received their schedule? No. We are working on getting all those schedules in. It's been a very condensed time frame for that. You'll get it at Meet the Teacher, and also once you're able to log into the parent portal, you'll be able to view those schedules. And we hope to have all of those in. We do know that there will be schedule changes necessary at the beginning of the school year, particularly for our high school students. But you'll be able to have access to that before school starts. You'll get login information for Infinite Campus next week by email. So wait for that email coming out, and it'll tell you how to get into that. Parking spaces, students can come in. When do we want them to start coming in, Deanna?
So students that have already requested a parking space, either seniors or juniors, they have been notified already if they've requested one and sent the information that they need to bring in. And then they can forward the information and they'll be invoiced, or they can come in and bring all their paperwork in anytime during office hours before school starts, or the first or second day of school into that first whole week.
Great, thank you so much. There was a question about, does middle school offer advanced classes? And Sagan answered that partially with the Learning Lab. Yes, it will be an extension, but we also do offer like 8th grade students who are ready for it can start their high school math by taking Math 1. We also offer high school languages, French and Spanish, for students who choose those electives starting in 8th grade. And then beyond that, it's a student by student discussion. So we have definitely had students who are accelerating taking high school math classes in their middle school years. I think we've got one of our middle school students taking like pre-calculus again this year. So every once in a while, we have their kids that this is just that's just their jam. So we work with you to figure out what the best way is to keep them learning at the right level for them. But that is it's a one-by-one conversation. Question about, are the buses already filled? If just get registered. I will say that last year we had wait lists, but we were able to work through them over the first couple of weeks of school as parents really figured out how often their students would be riding the bus, what buses they were riding. So not every student rides the bus every day. So just get registered and we'll do our best to get you on to the buses. Question about, schedules, I think we've already answered. Clubs, we've already answered.
There was a question about Spanish for their 8th grader. If you want to email me, Erin, I can get that figured out for you for your 8th grader. Again, my name's Erin. You probably have a lot of communication with me for your enrollment. So if you just want to send it to that email address, I'll be glad to help you.
There's a question about new to FSI needing signing up for their classes. And I see that Sagan put her email in there. You'll notice our emails all follow the same thing. It's our first initial last name at thefsi.us, or just click the links. We'll get this slideshow out to you and you can click the link and get there. question about our honors and non-honors classes still combined. Yes, that was answered by Sagan already. It's part of our commitment to ensuring that all students have access to critical thinking and high quality instruction. But when they get into advanced placement or dual enrollment classes, obviously those are just for students who are in those classes. All right, I think we got through all the questions that I've seen. Again, thank you all so much for coming tonight and for taking the time to learn about all of these operational questions. And I feel so confident that everybody's going to come in going one direction on the first day at the right time. And if not, we're going to work with you to get you where you need to go. So we hope to see many of you at Meet the Teacher next week. And enjoy this last week. We'll be busy getting ready for you. And I'm going to end this and let all of my staff thank you all for coming tonight and helping me answer all these questions. And see you soon.